Hello there, Maverick traders. This is Rob Reinhold. It is March 20th, and today was Fed Day. So let's jump into it. In this session, we're going to go over what happened today. We're going to dive into the Fed, and then we're going to see what changed in the markets. And we absolutely have a change. We have a high base breakout. Risk on trade is back on the table. So we're going to score everything from +3 to -3, and we're going to be buying the strongest and selling the weakest.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional Forex and crypto traders. Maverick Currencies is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional Forex and currency trader for Maverick, click the Apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So let's jump in first to the news of the day. Before we get into the FOMC, which was the big news of the day, we got the UK CPI up 3.4%. This is still elevated, but expectations were for 3.5%. So inflation is starting to come down in the UK. It has been the most stubborn in the UK around the world. We do hear from the Bank of England tomorrow morning. There's expected to be really no change in their policy. But again, we see these CPIs coming down around the world. Let's talk about what happened with the FOMC. They basically did as expected, which was keep rates where they were. The big question was, were they going to take some rate cuts off the table due to the stronger GDP growth and the stronger inflation that we've seen the first 2 or 3 months of this year? And the answer was no. They kept all 3 rate cuts in their dot plot, which made the stock markets very, very happy. So we got a really good report here because the Fed said, hey, the economy's better than expected. Inflation is still coming down. It's a little higher than we expected, but we're not worried about it. We still think there's room to cut rates 3 times in 2024. That's exactly what the stock market wanted to hear. Oh, good growth, and we still get rate cuts? What's not to cheer about? Let's see what happened in the world of Forex. We did see some weakness in the dollar, which would be expected in this report, but I thought we'd be down a lot more than just 0.36. We saw the most weakness in the yen, and after the yen, the Bank of Japan, they raised rates for the first time in I don't even know how long. Remember, the yen had already had a run into the meeting. The old buy the rumor, sell the news. What's next? Probably not much. So the yen is selling off as well. We did see a pickup in the growth currencies, but I want to point out, these aren't real big numbers. These numbers should have been bigger. We should have seen Aussie, CAD, Kiwi all up 0.5% to 1%. We're still getting very muted moves in the growth currencies when we have good bullish news. So I still don't think Forex is acting great. Where I see the movements in the markets is in the crypto. And that's exactly what we saw. We saw a very, very nice rebound in crypto today. We saw basically the stock markets up about 1%. We saw gold up a little bit from that weak dollar, and oil's doing its own thing back down below 80. I'm going to focus most of this session on the cryptos because this is where I see the best opportunity at the moment. As you can see, they're all up very nicely, but let me point out that all of these are substantially off their highs. Bitcoin was down about 17% off its recent high. So a 7% bounce back is great, but there's still a lot of room to go. We're going to take a look at these charts here and see what is going on with crypto. The question is, did we get a change in market outlook? And if you remember, we actually downgraded our viewpoint of the market from a +3, which we've been at to a very long time, to a +2. This was last Friday, and we said, hey, you know what? Let's get a little bit less bullish here. Just go from a +3 to a +2. And you can see that the market said, hey, you know what? I don't appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and make a breakout and a run. Ultimately, this is just super bullish. This is a beautiful, beautiful high base breakout. After basing for 2 weeks, we're off to the races again. What's going on in the world of economics? We have a ton of data still coming out. So My hope is that the Forex market gets better. We have a ton of data coming out here. So just take a look at what we got coming in tonight. Tonight we have reports on both the Kiwi and the Aussie. If these come in better than expected, we could see some nice little runs here in both of these currencies. Like I said, these should be acting a little bit stronger. If we get very, very strong data out of both of these, we could see that run, where we get a 0.5%, 1% run out of these currencies. We hear from the SNB tomorrow morning, no change expected. I don't think that's going to be all that big of a deal. I think this is the one that we might get some volatility around is the UK. As you can see here, this is the big thing is where are the votes? Where are the votes? And you can see they were split last time to where 6 people wanted to stay, 2 people wanted to hike, 1 people wanted to cut. Take a look at where we are now. 8 people wanting to stay, 1 person looking to cut. This is much more dovish in the Bank of England. That's, again, priced into this market. If we get something different than that, we could see a fairly big move in the pound. However, the pound isn't acting great at the moment. It is high basing, so we always could get a high base breakout, but it tells me that the pound is probably not where I'm going to be looking for trades unless I see something really serious, something really different. But let's go in and take a look at each currency one by one, and we're going to find out where our best opportunities are over the next 24 hours. I'm going to start here with Bitcoin, and let me just pull up a daily chart. We had this big run, and then we've had a pretty decent pullback. If we run some Fibonacci extensions, from the high to the low here, when we get these pullbacks, and again, I'm not going to get too into Fibonacci here, but we expect to see buying around these pullback points. And you can see we blew through this first 23.6, then we came down here to 38.2, had a little bounce, it fell back down. We're now back to the 50%. Now this is where this should hold, and you can see a really nice bounce point right there. The question is, are we going to go back up to break new highs? This is still a bull pullback pattern. There's nothing in this pattern here that says this is not still an uptrend until it actually proves that it isn't. So we have to take a look at this and say, hey, this is a nice bull pullback. It very well could go all the way back up to the 73,000. We draw in some trend lines here. These trend line breaks are looking really good here. Everything is looking like it's a buy. We've got a moving average that's turning up. We've got parabolic SARs that have been pierced. We have RSI above 50 for the first time since we topped out. Everything here is saying buy. I like Bitcoin here. I like Ethereum as well. Let's take the same methods here. We've got a pullback. We've got the first time above 50 in the RSI since the top. Again, everything here technically is saying this is a buy here, go long. Question is, where are these going? Are they going back up to 4,100? We have no idea, but take a look, 3,400 to 4,000. Hey, that's a nice move here. That's about a 16, 17% move. I think there is definitely enough meat on the bone to take a look at these. Even like a Litecoin, even though I don't love this one the most, I still think it's a decent looking trade. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are better for your money. That's where I think the best opportunity is right here in trading. Now look, I am typically 90% Forex, 10% cryptos. This is just one of those times where the crypto market just looks better. And look, I have no allegiance to Forex or crypto. I don't care. It's just a vehicle. I want to get in the vehicle that has the best edge right now, the best opportunity. And I think that's cryptos here until we start to get some movement in Forex. But let's jump into Forex and talk about where we could potentially see some movement. I want to start off with the pound basket. If we go to the pound basket, we can see we are starting to get a bit of a breakout. So the pound, to me, going into this Bank of England meeting, thinking, hey, you know what? The currency's breaking out, but the news hasn't been great lately. We'll see what happens. This is an okay trade. The question is there something better? And when I flip over here to the euro, I just like the euro chart much, much better. We've got this ascending little triangle pattern. You can see we came here. Let me move that up. We had this pullback. We're breaking through. To me, I like the euro better, and then I don't have to worry about that central bank coming out and blowing my trade when I could just be trading euro on the long side. As you can see, they both look good. They both look fine. This one just has less risk in it than the pound does. Do we have any confidence here in Aussie and Kiwi? Yeah, so look, Aussie had a really nice move here. We had back here, we had a breakout and fell. Looks like this one is going to stick. To me, Aussie potentially could also have a nice run here over the next 24 hours. We do have that employment report tonight, stronger than expected. I think Aussie could have a nice run. We come over to Kiwi and it's still just not working well. So for me, Kiwi is still a sell. So I have no desire to look at Kiwi whatsoever. Coming over here to the CAD. Okay, the CAD, at least right now, is showing some upside momentum, but it doesn't have this breakout point that the Aussie's having. So for me, Euro number 1, Aussie number 2, going into this overnight period. On the short side, well, take your pick. You could be short Swiss franc. It's basing right now. Remember, SNB tomorrow morning. Be careful about that. If we do get a nice breakdown, I like the trade, but I'm not looking to be in Swiss franc ahead of that announcement. We could also come over here to dollar. Dollar isn't in a great part of the pattern. That being said, it is bouncing off the high here. So you could trade this. It's still more bearish than bullish, probably coming down here to the bottom of its level. But the question is there something better? And here we have something better. Yen is absolutely falling apart after the first time the Bank of Japan has raised in forever. I'm going to have to put yen at the top of my list. That being said, I do have to realize that yen has had a very big move and will likely have a bounce or a base. So going into like the next 24 hours, if I'm going to be short term in my trade, so let's say I'm just looking to make a trade that lasts, an hour, 2 hours, 6 hours, I think you got to stick with yen short. Yen short, all the momentum is there. If you're not looking to be that short term, I think the yen is a little overextended here and it will likely have a bounce or a base. I actually like the dollar or the Swiss franc. Again, the Swiss bank is coming out overnight. So that probably leaves me with the dollar as my number 1 short. Look, I don't love it. It's not my favorite, but the other two have some issues. Yen has had 2 big red candles, expecting there to be a bounce or a base. Swiss franc looks great, but SNB tonight, okay, it kind of locks me into dollar short. So let's take a look at euro dollar. Take a look at it on a daily chart. You can see euro dollar is still really just hanging out in this range, but we have come down. We've got a nice bounce. Next resistance is going to be up here at 109.67. And then ultimately up here at 110. To me, this looks like a really decent bull pullback that you could take a look at buying. We got a nice hammer candle here, nice confirmation candle here. It's just a matter of, okay, when is the timing? I like this one. I like this one at any time here to the upside. But again, is that the best one? Let's take a look at Aussie dollar. To me, it looks like we have a little bit more room to run on Aussie dollar here. We had a nice bull pullback. To me, we've got all the way up here to 66.30 to run. That is 50 pips on a 65 cent currency. That's about a 0.8 8% move. That's a bigger move to the upside than I saw on euro dollar. I'm going to have to go with Aussie dollar as my favorite trade. Up here at 66.30 is going to be the next bit of resistance. I think there's a good opportunity it could get up there. Obviously, right here, right now, it's having a huge run. Look, I don't mind buying it here as long as my stock is liberal enough to where I don't just get knocked out on a little wiggle move to the downside. But remember, we do have some Aussie news out tonight. So maybe half position here and then add a half position after. To me, this is my favorite trade in the Forex space. And my favorite trade overall is Bitcoin. And you can see since we've been talking, Bitcoin is up another 1%. So to me, Bitcoin is the better trade along with Ethereum to the upside. If you want to stick in Forex, Aussie dollar. So here's our velocity scoreboard. We've got Euro Aussie showing all the strength, and we've got Yen showing the most weakness, dollar Swiss franc right behind there. Pretty much everything I went through, I think you can just ignore QE CAD. Look, you can trade the pound if that's what you like. Great. I just think the euro has a little bit less risk than that without a central bank meeting coming up. All right, so we've got the cryptos are moving now. They just look great here. Forex, you've got to be in the right place. Forex isn't a great trade across the board. There's a couple currency crosses that I think you can have some good opportunities with. It's not across the board, though. You got to be very selective on those. Thanks for joining me. That is the currency recap. Goodbye, everybody.